it's Jona, and welcome to another episode of DCOMmentary! DCOMmentary is a series where I take a look back at DCOMs and Disney Channel original series and talk about the history behind them, some fun facts, some trivia, and also my experience with them. I can't even tell you how excited I am for today's episode. When I came up with this series, I was immediately just ready to jump into Descendants, but I wanted to give it some time to build up, keep the hype going. Descendants means so much to me. I've said it 1,000 times on this channel. I'll say it 1,000 times again. I'm obsessed with Descendants! Deep down, I feel like I am part of Descendants, which is not a thing at all, but it is in my mind. If there were any franchise that I could have been in, well, High School Musical, but also Descendants. It's a toss-up, really. I can't wait to tell you more about Descendants, even if you already know some of these facts. It's just fun to revisit and talk about and celebrate all things Descendants. Of course, it would not be a Descendants video without me dedicating it to Cameron Boyce. Cameron was such a light, he had such a natural talent and such a big heart and so much more to give. And it's just completely beyond words tragic that he is no longer with us. This video is absolutely 100% dedicated to Cameron. If this clip is in the video, that means I was able to set up a fundraiser through YouTube. I've never done that before. I'm not really sure what all it entails, but I'm hoping to set up a fundraiser for the Cameron Boyce Foundation. They do a lot of great work, and I'm always just looking for ways to help them out. I mean, if you use Amazon, I know Amazon isn't like the best site, but if you do use it, you can use Amazon Smile and have part of your spending go to the Cameron Boyce Foundation, which is really cool. That's what I do, and it makes me feel better about Amazon. I will link the Cameron Boyce Foundation below. Definitely be sure to check it out and just be a part of Cameron's legacy. So Descendants premiered on July 31st, 2015, the day that my life changed. Oh, so good. It premiered to 6.6 million viewers, and that grew to 10.5 million with DVR playback. I watched the premiere, I didn't DVR it. Not that if you did, you're any less than me, but I watched the premiere and oh my gosh, I fell in love so instantly. I think from the opening. Like, from Mal's narration, I was like, oh, this is my new favorite thing. I'm in. And then, Rotten to the Core, just all of it was so good. I was into it before because I had read the first I Love the Lost book. I was so hyped. Oh, it's so good. It's so exciting. It's so exciting to talk about and revisit all the feelings coming back. Anyway, it was the 5th most watched original movie in cable history. Take that, cable. What does that even mean? But before it had debuted on TV on Disney Channel, it was already viewed over 1 million times on the Watch Disney app. I think I waited. I think I really wanted to watch it on the Watch Disney app, but from what I remember, I waited for the actual premiere because I am old school. But basically, to summarize, it got a lot of views here in the US and also not in the US. I was gonna say overseas, but then I changed my mind. That was weird. In Australia, it attracted 151,000... Wait. In Australia, it attracted 151,000 viewers, making it the 6th highest rated broadcast on pay television on its premiere day. The British premiere saw 827,000 viewers, making it the most watched broadcast on the Disney Channel of that week and month. And it rose to 1.45 million in 28 days, making it the highest viewership ever on the network at the time. That was a lot of numbers. All you need to know is that it did well here in the US, and it did well a lot of other places. As it should. With Descendants, we were blessed with an incredible cast. Of course, it stars the core four: Dove Cameron, Sophia Carson, Boo Boo Stewart, and Cameron Boyce. But it also stars Mitchell Hope, Brenna D'Amico, Sarah Jeffrey, Melanie Paxson, Zachary Gibson, Jedediah Goodacre, Diane Doan, Dan Payne, Keegan Connor Tracy, Wendy Raquel Robinson, Max Jabrani, and Kathy Njimi. And I probably said those names wrong, a lot of them wrong, and I feel really bad because I am a hardcore Descendants fan. It's just names are not my strong suit. We know this. Production was announced December 12th, 2013, and the plot outline was also released. It seems weird because I don't remember first hearing about it around Christmas, like around the holiday season. I feel like it was in the summer, so I'm a little bit confused by this date, but that's what I found. I remember when the news first dropped. I remember seeing the picture of the villain kids and their parents, and it was Dove, it was Cameron, I didn't recognize the other two, you know, Boo Boo and Sophia. But I don't remember it being in December, so I'm not sure what that's about, but we're gonna go with it. Descendants was directed and choreographed by Kenny Ortega. Who else could have done it? Nobody else. Kenny is a legend. His work on Descendants is so good. I guess Descendants wasn't meant to be a musical originally, but then when they brought Kenny on, they were like, well, we have to make it a musical now. What would be the point? I can't even imagine it not being a musical. What is that? What would it be? I think it was supposed to be like an action comedy thing. No thank you. It's a musical only. Sofia Carson didn't even know it was a musical until 2 weeks before filming. I don't know how that's possible, especially because Boo Boo Stewart was in singing and dancing lessons before rehearsals. So how did, like, everybody else know, but Sophia's out there like, I can't wait to do this action comedy adventure. What? Okay, we have more names that I am going to mess up. Here they are. The script was written by Yosan McGibbon and Sarah Perriott? I'm so sorry. It filmed in Vancouver in the spring of 2014. A lot of the Oridon prep scenes were filmed at a place called Hatley Castle, and I very much want to go there and dress as Evie or Mal or somebody and take beautiful photos. That's the dream. Here's something I didn't know, or maybe I did know but I forgot. The costumes were done by someone from Project Runway Season 1. I have watched Project Runway from the beginning. Yes, I know I was a young child watching that show, and it's not always the most appropriate. Well, it's really just language. But anyway, Kara Song did the costumes, and they are so cool. The costumes in Descendants are up here in the top things about it that I love. I guess Kara was basically immediately drawn to the project. She read 2 pages of the script and knew that this was like an incredible opportunity to work with classic Disney heroes and villains. I feel like that's a no-brainer. I would read the script too and be like, please, I will do anything. I will scrub the floors. I will wipe up confetti. Not that there's confetti in Descendants. I don't think there is. But honestly, same. There were more than 1,000 costumes made for the movie, and there were people exclusively dedicated to painting, dyeing, studding, and distressing. I was gonna say embossing. What? Oh, I just have too much excitement. It's so hard to talk about Descendants without just like losing my mind. I just wish I had all of the costumes from this movie in my everyday wardrobe, honestly. The set design, all of that was led by production designer Mark Hoffling. Everything you see was specifically made. The art department made every piece of material that is seen, from like flyers and posters to even trash on the ground in the Isle of the Lost. Mark said that he envisioned the color palette of the Isle invoking dirty candy. Julie and the Phantoms, is that you? Part of me is like, did Kenny get the inspiration for Dirty Candy and Julie and the Phantoms from Descendants? Because the amount of times I heard Dirty Candy in my research was like astronomical. So is it no to Descendants? Let me know. They also conducted a study of the colors surrounding classic Disney villains. Immediately when I read that, I thought about like that lime acid green that always seems to follow Disney villains around. It's a thing. I don't know why. Other colors like purple and burgundy, just like rich, evil colors. I guess. This was Sofia Carson's first movie, maybe even her first project. I don't know. More or less, it was her introduction to the world. She was in hair and makeup for 2.5 hours, and her wig alone took 1 hour to put on. That surprised me. I mean, it's just like a blue wig, but I guess with all the like singing and stuff that they're doing, it needs to be really secure. Cameron Boyce did bleach his hair, which took 6 hours to do. The dedication, like, bleaching is a lot. I know for the second movie he did end up wearing a wig, which honestly I don't blame him. The commitment he had to this first film, bleaching his hair, having that 6-hour process, and like the damage that it does, I can't even imagine. Cameron was only 15 when they filmed Descendants, so he was a minor, which meant that he was legally obligated to leave set early every day. So he had like 5 different body doubles for the movie. Not only did he have a stunt double, you know, like a classic stunt double, he had a dance double and several body photography doubles. When I read that he had a dance double, I was very confused by that because Cameron did not need a dance double. He can do anything. So I'm not sure if that's just because he had to leave set early and they needed somebody in the dance numbers. I don't know, but there was no dance double needed. Regardless of what double they were, I guess they all had his freckles put on, which, oh my gosh, Cameron. And even though they're not seen, you know that the freckles were there, which I don't know why that like gives me like comfort or makes me feel a little emotional. It just does. Dove wasn't allowed to dye her hair because she was currently filming Liv and Maddie, and that would have been really not great. Because although they did use wigs on Liv and Maddie, as you may have learned from my last episode, they did use part of her real hair to keep it looking natural. So like just a random purple streak, it would have been like, what? I mean, for Liv, you could just be like, yeah, I have a role in Descendants. But for Maddie, it would have been really random. Dove wanted to be Mal so bad, speaking of wigs, that she wore a black wig with bangs, like straight across bangs, a leather jacket and leather pants and biker boots to her audition, and she says that she's never done that before, like she's never dressed for an audition the way that she did for her Descendants audition, and I admire the commitment once again. Dove was the first person in the cast to read the script. She said that she had finished a day of working at Liv and Maddie, and she got a call from Disney, and she was like, what? Because I guess if Disney really wants something from you or needs you, they'll email you. So when she got the call, she was like, oh my gosh, I'm fired. I've done something. What did I do? I'm racking my brain. And I guess all they said was, hey, Dove, we need you to come into the office. Yeah, okay. Bye, basically. And she was like, I'm getting fired. This is it. And she was mentally preparing herself to be fired. And then when she got there, she was sitting in an office and they just plopped a giant script in front of her. And they were like, read this front to back, let us know what you think. And so she read it, and she said that she immediately came running out of the office like, I will do anything to play Mal. And apparently they just responded being like, interesting. Okay, see ya. What is with Disney calling Dove or seeing Dove in the office and just being like, cool, bye. Honestly, I can't picture anybody else as Mal. Dove is just so flawless in her performance. I mean, all of the core 4 are so great. But this was a really special project for Dove because she got to work with Kristen Chenoweth for the first time, which introduced a long partnership between the two. They're always cast together these days. But Kristen was Dove's hero since before she was 7, and that's the coolest ever. I mean, imagine, like, picture your favorite actor and getting to work with them. How cool is that? When Dove got the call that Kristen was going to be playing her mother, she said that she already had this feeling that it was Kristen. She was like, it's Kristen, isn't it? And then when they confirmed it, she cried and cried and cried, and oh, I love them. I love them as mother and daughter. See, now I'm thinking about how we could have had Dove Cameron as Glinda in the Wicked movie, and I'm a little bit sad about it, not gonna lie. Okay, we're just gonna go on a tangent for a split second. I love Ariana Grande very much. Her music is in heavy rotation in my life. She's in, like, my top 3 artists. But we could have had Dove. We could have had Dove in the Wicked movie as Glinda. We were so close, and we should have, and we could have. And Kristen even said in past interviews that she wanted it, but Kristen's also really close to Ariana, and it's so hard. It's so hard to know that we could have had Dove, especially if Jordan Fisher is Fiyero. I'm gonna be extra sad. Anyway, what was I saying? Oh, Dove. Dove said that she shaped her career after Kristen, so I bet it was even, like, extra icing on the cake to work with her hero and someone that she modeled her career after. So good. Boo Boo Stewart actually originally auditioned to be Ben, which I cannot picture for the life of me. And Sophia Carson actually auditioned to be Audrey, which I can picture more, but also she is Evie to me. When they announced that the villains at the focus of the movie would be Maleficent, Cruella de Vil, Jafar, and the Evil Queen, I don't know what happened to my brain there. I remember thinking, like, those aren't the most iconic to me. Someone that came to mind was Ursula, and they knew that they wanted to save that character for a potential sequel, even before they had confirmation of, like, going ahead with a sequel. Of course, that led to us getting Uma, who I love. China Anne McClain is absolutely incredible. But that's for another video. That's for Descendants 2. I've got to restrain myself. The reason that they wanted to save Ursula was because of her popularity. They needed to have some sort of pull for the second movie. Before filming, they had 2 weeks or so of dance rehearsals, just straight dance rehearsals, no acting, nothing, just dancing. I know I said that Kenny directed and choreographed, but Paul Becker was another choreographer that worked alongside Kenny, and I guess Kenny kept changing Rotten to the Core. He kept changing choreography a lot of times. I guess the cast would learn the choreography from Paul Becker, like, in the morning, and then in the afternoon, Kenny would be like, actually, scrap that, we're gonna do this. And I guess that happened a lot of times. I can't imagine. I feel like it would be really fun to be like on a Kenny set in a Kenny rehearsal, but also really stressful, especially because I would be so nervous to like lose my job because I'm not like great at dancing, and Kenny is so much of like a hero figure to me that I would just feel so much pressure. Anyway, moving on. Speaking of Rotten to the Core, it was inspired by 70s punk, and it's just such a cool number. Come on, you know it's iconic, you know it's amazing. You have the song stuck in your head right now. Rotten to the Core is the big opening number, Set It Off is the finale number, and I guess Set It Off also had challenges. Not only was it the biggest group of the whole movie, and it had like tons of dancers, but I guess some of it needed to be flipped. Like the actors learned the right side of the dance, but then had to flip to do the left because of like camera blocking or something. I'm not entirely sure. But I think it was Boo Boo who said that Set It Off was especially difficult. The super random Be Our Guest number was originally supposed to be just a very small in the background number, but with Kenny that's not a thing. So Kenny made it a whole production. I mean, it's definitely not the biggest production in the movie, but it's a production. The movie features a ton of dancers from Toronto, Vancouver, New York, Los Angeles. Within the core 4, Sophia had some pretty strong dance experience. Cameron had dance experience. So talented. Boo Boo had dance experience and stunt experience. But Dove didn't really have dance experience. She did show choir and like a little bit of theater, but nothing quite as intense as what a Kenny Ortega project requires. But honestly, I've always admired Dove's effort and the way that she stands her own among the other 3. And I did find a quote from Paul where he said that at the beginning of the process she was kind of just doing the steps, but by the end she was attacking them, and I love that. You can see her really like going for it, which is super cool. Similarly, this was basically Mitchell Hope's first project, and he had no dance experience, like even less than Dove. But Paul said that he dives in with his heart, and that comes across on camera. And I definitely think, like, I wouldn't be able to tell that he had no dance experience. He was clearly coached, he clearly, like, gave it his all. And 100% applause to Dove and Mitchell. Cameron, like I said, did have a lot of dance experience, was a phenomenal dancer, but even he said that, like, he was so sore, and he felt it. He felt using, like, parts of his body that he hadn't for a while, and I mean, he does some crazy stuff throughout the franchise, but he had a ton of fun doing it, and you can really tell, and that is so special. I'm so glad that we have that to look back on. The cast was super close, still are super close, and they had this chant. I believe that for Descendants 3 they released footage of this, where it's like boom shakalaka laka boom shakalaka laka ba ba, and I guess that was one of Cameron's favorite things to do, which, like, oh. The Descendants DVD, I totally meant to grab it and bring it and show it, but I didn't. I'm sorry. But the Descendants DVD was released on August 18th, 2015, and the domestic DVD sales hit $18,205,410. That's a lot. The soundtrack was released the day of premiere, the soundtrack that is still in rotation for me to this day. I'm obsessed with the music from the first film, second film, third film, but we're talking about the first. It peaked at number 1 in the United States Billboard 200, number 1 on the US top digital albums, and topped the US top soundtracks, because it's so good. I think Dove said it best, that it's like a collection of singles and not so much like a musical. Like, they all sound kind of different, similarly to High School Musical. Descendants, this first film, started a franchise, an entire franchise. It was followed by 2 other DCOMs, a short-form animated series called Descendants Wicked World, music videos, specials, costumes, books, clothing lines, so many things. I should mention that I have the Descendants bracelet on that came with the DVD. It has the core 4 symbols on it, and I love it. Like, I know it's not, like, expensive, fine jewelry, but to me it means a lot. Yosan and Sarah won the 2016 Writers Guild Award for Children's Long-Form Program. Not that I think Descendants is for children. It's for everyone. Kemi won the 2016 Directors Guild of America Award for Outstanding Directorial Achievement in a Children's Program. Personally, I think Descendants should have won a ton more awards than just these 2, but there you have it. At least there were 2. I'll take what I get. Descendants has a lot of great messaging at its core. It's not rotten to the core, it's actually very good to the core. Yes, it has beautiful sets, beautiful costumes, wonderful music, amazing sets, magic and wonder and adventure and comedy and heartfeltness, but it also just has a lot of great things to say. I did find a great quote from Cameron that I want to share. Cameron spoke about how viewers got to see the characters thrive once societal labels were removed from them. He said, "To be able to sort of tell a story in which we say, it doesn't matter where you come from, it doesn't matter who you are, we're going to accept you for who you are. That's when people really start to sort of take in their surroundings and just kind of go free." I also found a quote from Sophia that I thought was really great. She said, "What I've always loved about the Descendants franchise is that apart from the incredible fairy tale and the magic, the music, the wigs and costumes, there's such an important story that we tell. It's always been standing up for the outcasts and learning that only through inclusion and learning not to judge and to love first and choose love, the world will be a better place." Descendants is just such a wonderful franchise, and I have so much love for the movie that started it all. I have so much love for the cast, especially for Cameron, who is no longer with us. We are so lucky to have witnessed his work on this movie and, in all his other projects. Descendants definitely is my favorite, though. You can just tell that he was having the time of his life. I love how much the cast got along and loved each other. I love how much everyone put into the project. Everyone was giving it 100%, 110%, the jillion thousand %. And that really comes across on screen. Like, I'm not just talking about the cast, I'm talking about the crew, the costume designers, the production designers, every single person involved. This was a home run for DCOMs, and I think it also really, revived DCOMs. Before Descendants, what was, the last best one? Teen Beach Movie, maybe? But when did we have a franchise like High School Musical or even Camp Rock? It had been a while. And Descendants has such a strong fan base, and rightfully so, because it is just incredible. I could go on for hours and hours and hours talking about just how much I love Descendants, but I think I'm gonna leave it there. I am so curious to hear in the comments what you love about Descendants and what your experiences with Descendants have been. Have you met any of the cast? I should say that I did meet, Sophia Carson, and Cameron Boyce. I was so lucky to meet Cameron. I didn't really, talk to Sophia at all, really. From the side. She was here, I was here. It's in my VidCon vlog. I, said something and she kind of responded to it, but Cameron I actually got to go up to and say, "Oh my gosh, I love your work. I love Descendants. You're incredible." It was just, the quickest moment, but it's such a special moment and something that I am so thankful for. I haven't met anybody else from the cast. I would pretty much die to meet Dove Cameron. That is one of my dreams. It's on my bucket list, to be quite honest with you. I just love everybody so much. Be sure to leave a comment with your guess for what my next episode of DCOMmentary will be. I'm not sure that there will be an episode next week because Thanksgiving's happening and I don't feel like anybody has time to watch, but after that there should be one. The next episode is a DCOM, so keep that in mind when you make your guesses. And I love you all. Stay beautiful, you people. Bye!